I'm not the biggest fan of card games anymore. I used to be into it for a little bit, but then, COVID hit, everyone started collecting everything, Magic the Gathering cards, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything just got completely overtaken by a bunch of scalpers and people basically ruining the hobby. So I kind of just fell off of it and I don't really talk about it that much anymore. But every so often I do like to dip my feet in the communities to kind of see what's going on there. Usually you get a nice wholesome post where someone is at a convention, they sometimes get scammed, and the vendors kind of feel bad for that person, and then they'll give them like a free pack or something to kind of give them a good chance of coming back to these conventions, so that way they can enjoy themselves. And I think that's a really cool thing. I'm glad that there's some people who are taking the community thing to heart and want to try and make something good out of something bad. I think we need more people like that in the community, especially for those who can't really get their hands on anything anymore, like with Magic the Gathering and Pokemon cards, because it's so expensive now. But that's just the collector side. There's also the ones who take the game very seriously, who like to play the game, they go to the tournaments and everything to win prizes, packs, and everything like that. Those are the kind of things I steer clear from. I see them all the time whenever I do go out with my friends. Sometimes they go to a Magic the Gathering tournament and I do not know what the fuck is happening. I hear them say words and colors and, mountains and shit, and I cannot follow it. It is the weirdest thing to me. I don't know how Magic the Gathering works. I know there's a ton of stuff that goes in, a ton of rules, and it could probably last a good long while if you're playing the game with your friends. So I try and steer clear of that. But I did see something today, which I thought was pretty crazy. It did happen here in my home state of Texas, where there was a Magic the Gathering tournament happening, and it got a little bit out of hand.
You cannot assault a fucking person. It is not
Stand up and step away.
I'm a fucking...
Everybody out of this aisle. Stand up and step away. Move away.
You cannot put your fucking hands on me.
We need to clear out this room. Turn that off.
Now you're probably wondering how this whole thing went down. There was an unconfirmed rumor saying that this person was wearing an offensive pin. It got a lot of people heated during the game. He was saying things like misusing pronouns or stuff like that. And I guess it just unraveled from there, but that wasn't the case. Usually with these things, it's something that has to do with cheating, like deck manipulation, sleight of hand tricks, drawing extra cards, hitting cards when your opponent's not looking. Usually that's the case with these kind of things that break out in fights. But that wasn't the case. It was none of those things, surprisingly. It was unsurprisingly because he was drunk. He was drunk. He did this 2 days in a row. He was at the tournament. He didn't submit a deck list, which I guess is a very big thing in the Magic the Gathering community, especially if you're going into a tournament. You got to get those things listed, put your whole deck in there, and that way everything's nice and formal, so that way everyone has a fair chance of playing, and so on and so forth, because that's the rules. And I'm not surprised that this happened in Texas. There is a lot of people here in my home state who love playing Magic the Gathering. It is a goddamn cult following at this point. And this also kind of made me laugh too, but the community was already doing its work. I will say, though I don't know much about Magic the Gathering, I do think the community can put out some pretty funny things right here. They already made a meme card of this guy when he was getting arrested, and it's so funny. I'm gonna try and relay this everything, but it is a white mana card, 2 mana. It's called Arrest. It is an enchant creature type, can't attack or block. Its activated abilities can't be played. Now, I would assume if you played that card at a tournament, it'd probably be an illegal move. You probably have to fill some kind of requirement in order to do that, like you have to do some sort of cheating. That should be the anti-cheat card right there. If you ever see one of those things, just pull out the Arrest right there. Automatic game over. You can't do anything about that. Kind of like the Exodia of the Magic the Gathering scene. That's what I think would be really funny if you did have that kind of card in play. But you know what? That's probably the most action that they've probably seen there at that tournament all day. Usually whenever I see a tournament, it's just a sea of people just absolutely, mind in of the game. They cannot break the concentration because they are just so focused on playing. So that was a nice little trick there. Hopefully no one used that to cheat or anything during that whole debacle, but thankfully though the man was arrested. He did get removed from the premises. He was taken out. The tournament was able to go on. I don't know who won. Hopefully it was someone deserving. I'm sure it was. They probably got their free Magic the Gathering pack. Don't know which one they got, but hopefully they had fun. It was a good spring break for them, probably a good story. I honestly don't know how he was able to get back in on the second day. I guess he just walked in drunk like a fucking ninja, just walking in, no one's able to see him, didn't even smell the alcohol in the room. He just walked by. That's crazy. I don't know how he's able to pull that off, or how nobody didn't recognize him, especially from the people up front who are, checking these kind of things. Actually, I don't know if, there's a lot of people checking security or people, IDing everyone. Maybe they should add that into the tournament list. Usually they do that for conventions. But anyway, this was a pretty interesting story. I just wanted to talk about it. It was pretty fun and wacky. Hopefully the Magic the Gathering fans had fun. So let me know what y'all think. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll talk to you later. See ya.